Welcome to the Englishstorywell channel, your ultimate destination for captivating stories that enhance your English learning journey. Here, we believe that stories are not just a form of entertainment, but a powerful tool to improve your language skills. Let's go to started.
Sam was an English learner who loved reading books and writing essays, but there was one problem. He found it very difficult to understand spoken English. Every time he watched a movie in English or tried to listen to someone speaking English, he felt lost. The words sounded too fast, and he couldn't follow the conversations. One day, Sam's English teacher said something that made him think. She told the class, "Listening is one of the most important skills for learning a language. If you can understand what people are saying, it becomes easier to speak, read, and even write. Listening helps you learn pronunciation, intonation, and vocabulary naturally." Sam realized that improving his listening skills was key to becoming fluent in English. But how could he do it? Listening seemed so challenging. Sam decided to ask his teacher for advice. Sam went to his teacher after class and asked, "How can I improve my English listening skills? Everything sounds too fast, and I can't understand." His teacher smiled and said, "Start with simple content. Don't try to listen to fast conversations or advanced podcasts right away. Begin with something that matches your current level of English." She suggested that Sam start listening to children's stories, simple conversations, or beginner-level podcasts. These types of content would use basic vocabulary and slower speech, making it easier for him to understand. Sam liked this idea. That evening, he went home and found a podcast called Simple English Stories. The speaker talked about everyday topics like going to the park, making breakfast, and playing with friends. The sentences were short, and the speaker spoke slowly and clearly. As Sam listened, he was surprised at how much he understood. It wasn't perfect, but he could follow the main ideas of the stories. This gave him the confidence to keep going. After a few days of listening to simple podcasts, Sam noticed something important. His understanding was improving. He didn't have to focus so hard to catch every word, and he could follow the story more easily. Sam's teacher had told him that consistency was key. "Listening regularly is important," she had said. "Even if you listen for just 10 or 15 minutes a day, it can make a big difference over time. The more you expose yourself to the language, the better you'll become." So, Sam made a plan. Every morning before school, he would listen to a short podcast or watch a simple video in English. It became a daily habit for him. Some days, he listened while eating breakfast. Other days, he listened while walking to school. At first, Sam only listened to very basic content, but after a week, he started to challenge himself. He tried listening to slightly longer podcasts and conversations. Although it was still difficult at times, Sam felt proud of his progress. One evening, Sam decided to watch an English movie. He had always wanted to enjoy movies in English, but he usually found them too difficult to follow. However, his teacher had mentioned a useful trick: subtitles. "You can watch movies or TV shows in English with English subtitles," she had said. "It helps because you can see the words as you hear them. This can improve both your listening and reading skills at the same time." Sam decided to try it. He chose a movie he had seen before in his own language, so he already knew the basic story. He turned on the English subtitles and began watching. At first, he found himself reading the subtitles more than listening, but as the movie went on, something interesting happened. He started to recognize words and phrases that the characters were saying. The subtitles helped him understand the pronunciation of words he had seen in books, but never heard spoken aloud. By the end of the movie, Sam felt like he had learned many new expressions and improved his ability to understand spoken English. Sam's listening skills were improving, but he still felt nervous when it came to real-life conversations. Listening to podcasts and movies was one thing, but talking to real people was another. One day, Sam's teacher organized a language exchange event at school. People from different countries came to practice their English. Sam felt shy, but he knew this was a great opportunity to improve his listening skills. At the event, Sam met a student named Lily, who was from Australia. They sat down to have a conversation in English. At first, Sam was worried that he wouldn't understand her accent or her way of speaking. But he remembered the advice his teacher had given him. Don't worry about understanding every word. Focus on the main idea. Lily spoke a little faster than what Sam was used to, but he focused on listening to her overall message. As they talked about their favorite hobbies, Sam realized that he could understand most of what she was saying. If he didn't catch a word, he asked her to repeat it or explain it. Lily was very friendly and patient. She helped Sam feel more comfortable, and soon, they were having a fun conversation. By the end of the event, Sam felt more confident in his ability to listen and understand real-life English conversations. As Sam's listening skills improved, he wanted to challenge himself even more. His teacher had mentioned that English is spoken in many different countries, and people have different accents. It's important to get used to listening to a variety of accents, she said. This will help you understand English speakers from all over the world. Sam decided to explore this idea. He found videos and podcasts featuring people from different countries, like the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and South Africa. At first, the different accents were confusing. Sometimes, words sounded very different depending on who was speaking. But Sam didn't give up. He listened carefully and repeated the words he didn't understand. Over time, he started to recognize the differences in pronunciation between the accents. For example, he noticed that some British speakers pronounced the R sound differently than American speakers. In some accents, certain words were shorter or longer than he expected. These differences helped Sam become more flexible in his listening, and he became better at understanding English in a variety of contexts. Sam had heard about a special technique called shadowing. His teacher explained that shadowing was when you listen to someone speaking and repeat what they say almost immediately after. It was like shadowing the speaker. Shadowing is a great way to improve both listening and speaking skills because it forces you to listen carefully and speak quickly. Sam decided to try it. He chose a short English video where the speaker was talking about daily routines. As the speaker said, "I wake up at 7 a.m. every day," Sam repeated, "I wake up at 7 a.m. every day." He tried to copy the speaker's pronunciation and intonation exactly. At first, it was difficult to keep up. The speaker seemed to be talking too fast, and Sam felt a little frustrated. But he kept practicing. After a few minutes, he found that he could follow along more easily. Shadowing helped him focus on the sounds and rhythm of English. After several days of practicing shadowing, Sam noticed a big improvement in his listening skills. He was able to pick up words and phrases more quickly, and his pronunciation was. One problem Sam often had when listening to English was trying to understand every single word. If he missed one word, he would get stuck and feel like he couldn't follow the conversation. His teacher gave him some valuable advice. When you're listening, don't try to understand every word. Instead, focus on the key words that give you the main idea of the conversation. Sam decided to put this advice into practice. One day, he listened to a podcast about travel. The speaker was describing a trip to Japan, but the conversation was fast, and there were many words Sam didn't understand. Instead of getting frustrated, Sam focused on the key words. He listened for words like Japan, train, hotel, and sightseeing. Even though he didn't understand every detail, he was able to get the general idea of what the speaker was talking about. By focusing on key words, Sam learned that it's okay not to understand everything. He realized that in real-life situations, people often talk quickly or use unfamiliar vocabulary, but as long as he could catch the main idea, he could still follow the conversation. Sam's listening skills were improving, but sometimes he had trouble remembering new words or phrases. His teacher suggested that he try taking notes while listening. "You don't need to write down every word," she said. "Just write down the important words or phrases that you don't know. After listening, you can look them up and learn their meanings." Sam thought this was a good idea. The next time he listened to a podcast, he kept a notebook and pen nearby. Whenever he heard a word he didn't understand, he wrote it down. After the podcast, he looked up the meanings of the new words and wrote sentences using them. Taking notes helped Sam learn new vocabulary and remember important details from the conversations he listened to. It also made him more active and focused while listening. Sam loved music, and one day he realized that listening to English songs could be a fun way to practice his listening skills. Songs often had clear pronunciation, and the repetition of the chorus made it easier to understand the words. Sam found some of his favorite English songs and started listening carefully to the lyrics. At first, he struggled to understand all the words because the music sometimes made it harder to hear the pronunciation. But over time, Sam got better at picking out individual words and phrases. He also looked up the lyrics online and followed along while listening. This helped him learn new expressions and get used to the rhythm and melody of English speech. Listening to songs became one of Sam's favorite ways to practice his listening skills, and it was also a lot of fun. After months of practice, Sam's English listening skills had improved significantly. He could now follow conversations more easily, understand different accents, and even watch movies without subtitles. But the most important thing Sam learned was the value of patience and persistence. Improving listening skills takes time, and there were moments when Sam felt frustrated or discouraged. But by staying consistent and practicing every day, he made steady progress. Sam's teacher was proud of him and encouraged him to keep going. Listening is a lifelong skill, she said. The more you practice, the better you'll become. Keep challenging yourself and never stop learning. With these words in mind, Sam continued to improve his English listening skills, knowing that every small step brought him closer to fluency.